Hey guys, it's Hector here with another entry in the Otaku Encyclopedia. And for this entry, I wanted to talk about 10 or 11 different terms which are all in the same category. Instead of spreading it out over 10 or 11 weeks, which is like 3 to 4 months, I decided to just compact it into one video and also have one article that I've already written, published, and everything on my website, hectormagical.com. Links are always in the description. And so I wrote all these out, wanted to go through each of them, and these are the Dere types. In case you don't know, in anime and manga, characters, sometimes usually just female characters, but also sometimes male characters, they're given these certain characteristics or personalities, and they've been kind of used over and over in various animes and mangas throughout the years, so people started creating their own words to help identify the different characteristics and styles and archetypes, or whatever you want to call them. And so pretty much all of them ends with Dere, which is short for Deredere, which usually translates into lovey-dovey. Through my research, that's what most people say, it's lovey-dovey. So I researched all these terms, came up with my own descriptions and the origins of the words, and so I'm going to go through all of them in alphabetical order, but if you want to look at a specific word, I will leave timestamps in the description so you can just jump through the video and go to the one that you're interested in the most. Yes, I should also mention, I'm looking over here because my screen's over here. This is my website that I'm looking off of, because I cannot remember the descriptions of all these words just off the top of my head. That's also why I'm over here instead of in my usual spot. But good news, I got my microphone right here, so the sound should be better. So let's start off with Dandere. Dandere, the Dandere type refers to a character who is often silent and reserved and kind of to themselves. That's usually how they are throughout like a television series, an anime series, or the manga. But once they get alone with the person that they love, then they usually come out of their shells and are more open and loving. And this word is an abbreviation of Danmari, which translates into silent, and Deredere, which translates into lovey-dovey, as I said at the beginning of this video. Next up is Deredere, and I know I already said Deredere pretty much means lovey-dovey, but in this character type, it pretty much means it's somebody who's always cheerful and kind and energetic and all that. So even if something bad happens to them, they might be sad for a few minutes, but then right away they go back to being their cheerful self and loving self and stuff like that. So that's pretty much all that there is to Deredere. There's no combination or abbreviation to the words. That's just how it is. Next up is Himedere, and this is a character who pretty much wants to be treated like a princess, so pretty much only female characters for this one. And so they want to be treated all like royalty, even if they aren't, because it might be in an anime or a manga where there is no royalty, there's no princess, there's no princesses, and that character still wants to be treated like a princess. And actually the word comes from Hime, which means princess, and then Deredere, which is lovey-dovey, so Himedere, and that's where it comes from, so princess complex, I guess you can say. Next is Kamidere, and this one refers to a character who has a god complex, who's usually highly arrogant and isn't afraid to speak their mind and think that they're always right and that they're pretty much better than everybody else. And so of course this is an abbreviation of the word Kami, which means God, and Deredere, which means lovey-dovey, so Kamidere. Deredere, Kamidere. Yeah, there you go. And God complex type character. Next up is Kuudere, and this one's actually spelled differently depending on whoever's spelling it, I guess. When it's spelled in katakana, it's always spelled the same, but when it's spelled in romaji, it could be spelled with a K, K-U-U, or just K-U, and sometimes people spell it C-O-O instead of K-U. So this type of character is usually a cool, calm, collected type person, but it's also, you know, kind of blunt and cynical in their kind of characteristics. And so they're kind of emotionless on the outside, but on the inside, they're usually very caring, or at least they're caring to the ones that they love. So this word is an abbreviation of cool, while the Japanese katakana form of cool, which is like K-U with a dash, and then R-U, and then Deredere, which is, you know, lovey-dovey, so it's kind of cool, lovey-dovey type person, you know. It's a combination, word combination. Next up is Mayadere, and this kind of character is a person who might have been an antagonist at the beginning of the series, but then they might have fallen in love with a main character or the protagonist or something like that, and so they kind of switch sides because of their affection and stop being a bad guy, usually. Because they can still be pretty unpredictable, they can still be dangerous, they still might even try and kill off other main characters or whatnot, but since they're in love with the primary character or the protagonist or whatnot, they're usually kind of caring towards that person. Now this might be the only word I don't know where it originates from. I don't know the Maya part, I just know the Deredere, which is the lovey-dovey part. I tried looking for certain terms, but I don't know where the Maya part comes from, and Maya doesn't just translate into anything by itself. So, not very helpful with that word, but sorry, I couldn't really find anything in my research. Next up is Oujidere, and this is pretty much the male equivalent of Himedere. Remember I said Himedere was a princess or a person who wants to be treated like a princess, and that's where Hime comes from. Oujidere is a character who wants to be treated like a prince, so it's only male characters instead of female characters. Even if the character isn't a prince or isn't royalty at all, or the anime or manga doesn't have royalty or anything like that, they still have that kind of prince complex and want to be treated highly and stuff like that. This word is a combination of Oji, which means prince, and Deredere, which means lovey-dovey. So combo again, just like most of the other words, Oujidere. Next up is Tsundere, which is probably the most popular character type in all of anime and manga. You guys probably seen it multiple times, probably lost count of how many times it's been used. So basically, it is when a main female character pretty much treats the main male character, the one that they usually love, really poorly. The best real world word would kind of be bipolar. Well, it can be for different reasons. Sometimes at the start of an anime and manga, the female character doesn't like the male character at all, and so she treats them poorly, but then as time goes on, they become closer and become more loving. But other times, the main female character just doesn't know how to deal with those type of emotions, so she just gets angry or violent, and usually just, a punch or a kick or something, that kind of violent. And then sometimes she just treats them cruelly and says mean words, calls them stupid, even though deep inside she really likes that character. And it's an abbreviation of Tsun, which I believe is just a kind of a word to show a person looking away in disgust, like or something. And then of course Deredere, which means lovey-dovey, so Tsundere. I don't think it's an actual word, the Tsun, I think it's just the word that makes the sound, because in manga they usually write out words that kind of make the sound effect. Next up is Undere, and this one is pretty much a character who always agrees with the one that they love. So they're always saying yes, you're right, just to get as close as they can and as affectionate or whatever as they can to the person that they love. So this is a combination of the word which is pretty much a quick way for Japanese people to say yes. They go or and so they spell it un, and then Deredere, which means lovey-dovey. So quick one right there. Alright, next up is Yandere, which is another pretty popular character type. This one is a character who starts out pretty kind and gentle and stuff, but then as the series progresses, they become pretty dark and psychotic, is the best way to put it. So they might fall in love with a certain character, and so much so that they become obsessive over them, and they usually get pretty violent and sometimes even murderous towards other characters who try and get close to the one that they love, even if they never even talk to that person. They might just become a stalker and like them from far away, instead of, actually becoming a girlfriend or a boyfriend to that character that they like. So this word is an abbreviation of a Yandere, which is pretty much means mentally or emotionally ill, and of course Deredere, which is lovey-dovey. And finally, we have Yangire, and this is the only word that doesn't end with Dere, but it's kind of an offshoot of Yandere. So pretty much similar to Yandere, Yangire is a character who, starts out really cool and kind and, all that kind of stuff. Then as the series progresses, they become kind of emotionally unstable and even violent, sometimes murderous, psychotic, and all that. The difference between Yandere is Yandere does it for a person that they love. You know, they become obsessive and stalkerish to this one person they love, and they usually become violent to anybody who gets close to them. But with Yangire, it usually doesn't even involve love. They might not be in love with a certain character, and they might not be obsessed with a certain type of character. They just become violent and have violent outbursts just out of nowhere for no reason sometimes. Well, I wouldn't say for no reason. There's usually a reason. It just doesn't revolve around love. So that's why it doesn't involve the word Dere, Deredere, because there's no lovey or dovey part. The word Yangire is Yangiru, just like with Yandere. Yangiru, which means, you know, mentally or emotionally ill, and Kire, which means to cut or to just snap. And that's pretty much all the different types of Dere. I hope this video was helpful. It really took a long time for me to research all these different types and make sure I had it all right. And I hope I didn't miss any. If you guys think I missed any, definitely leave a comment. If you thought I kind of misinterpreted one word or found wrong research or whatever for one word, definitely leave a comment. Tell me if I did something wrong. Correct me. Just do it kindly. And that's it, I guess. If you appreciated this video, you can give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos like this, some are kind of educational, just like this. Some are more vloggy about certain opinions, cosplay vlogs. And others are Japanese product reviews, but all relating to the Japanese subcultures and otaku subcultures and all that. So if you want to see more videos like this, definitely subscribe, because more will be coming in the future.